Hey folks, Pallet here, back with another Minecraft video. If this is your first time visiting the channel, welcome in. If you've seen some of my videos before, welcome back. And to all of you, I'm glad you're here. Now, this video has taken me just a little bit longer to put together than I'd originally hoped. My plan had been to release this back around probably the beginning of June or so. Unfortunately, our family got hit with a series of unfortunate events, I guess you could say. Nothing too serious, but aside from uh, three of us all getting sick one weekend and then losing power for 3 days about 12 hours later when we had a storm move through, and then just, general end of the school year things keeping us busy and people visiting and that sort of thing. It's just taken me a little while longer than normal to have the time to sit down and actually put a video together. I have been able to play some Minecraft. In fact, I've got a couple of building projects that we're going to be looking at today that I've been working on over the last several weeks. And they may not be the most apparent projects at first. These are some things that are kind of a little behind the scenes, so to speak, but they're a bit on the larger side. There's some things that have taken me a while to put together, and a good part of that had to do with some resource gathering. Uh, they involved a fair amount of glass and also just some sand as a raw tool for helping to drain the second ocean monument in this area. So let's take a look real quick. I took an adventure out to a desert a little ways off to the west, just looking for resources, looking for sand and coal and anything else that I thought would come in handy for these projects. We're going to take a quick look at how that went, and then I'll show you the results. I will meet you back here in just a couple of minutes. This area is just like miles of alternating desert and badlands. There are a couple of other just small little bits of other biomes that I've run across through here, but it's an incredibly large expanse of some of those drier, hotter areas. And right over here, it looks like we've got an abandoned desert village. I think it's interesting that the village actually spawned in using sea pickles as cups on the table. I've used that in some of my builds, but I didn't know that anything would spawn in like that. Even though the villagers abandoned it, they still left little cactus pots around. That's kind of cool. Let's see what we've got over here. Another cactus in a pot. Plenty of beds, too. Some cactus, some bread. Wonder how stale that bread is. More cactus, more bread, more wheat. What's that? Oh, cool. Cartography table, and then I got stuck in cobwebs. Let's get out of here. There we go. More bread and cactus. Still a pretty nice little village overall. Decent sized. I wonder if I helped a couple of villagers migrate over here, if they would actually be happy living around this space. It's kind of far away from most of my other villages. I'm thinking what I may do is just harvest all the hay and take it back. Oof, that's a long way down, and oh, look at that. That looks like it might be a monster spawner down there. I wonder if I can actually land over there. Oh, I think I can. What do we have here? Zombies, it looks like. Let's just light this place up. See what we can find. Saddle. Couple of music discs. Nothing really great here, but overall, just a really interesting spawn altogether. Abandoned villages are pretty rare. And then to have that abandoned village sitting right on top of a, I think it's technically called a dungeon, with the monster spawner, with the mob spawner in there. Take some iron back with me. I was out actually harvesting coal, because with my building projects, I've been going through coal like crazy. And so I was out exploring, trying to find a few places that I hadn't harvested much from yet. And I just kept flying west and wound up over here, so yay for random exploration. Let me see if I can get this coal up here before we leave this area. And a little more iron. Iron's always good. So I am harvesting these with Silk Touch just because it's a little more compact in my inventory while traveling. And I noticed we've got something over here. Lots of rabbits. That's one thing. That's not what I noticed. It looks like we've got one of those ruined nether portals. Golden sword with looting. There's a gold block, but my inventory is kind of full for right now. What I ought to do is get the coordinates for this area and maybe actually build a portal there and tie it into my nether portal network. Make it easy to get back to this abandoned village. Maybe we can do something with this. I don't know if I want to turn it into a living village, but still, having this abandoned village out here is kind of a fun little point of interest. Something to come out and look at. You just don't run across these too often. Well, my inventory is full to bursting with all of the stuff I carry around. I should probably head on back. It's a little bit of a trip, but we will get back over to the city. Oh, hey, some more coral. I didn't even notice I'd passed over coral earlier. And I think I just saw a ruin down here? Where did he go? There he is. I think that might be a little bit of a ruin. One of the underwater ones. Let me get some air here. This is, this may be the second coral field that I've run across. Which I wasn't wanting to... Oh, there we go, yep. This was one of these underwater ruins. A couple of items of coal, I'll take those. The main coral field that I've been using, I haven't wanted to take too much from it, because, you know, it is kind of pretty. I like how the coral looks, how it lights up the water. But maybe, now that we know there's a second one over here, kind of away from most of my building projects, we can go all industrial on it and rate it for all of the materials it's worth, and that is a lot of sea pickles. Well, anyways, my inventory's full. I can't harvest anything at the moment, so we're going to head back over to the city and drop off some of this stuff. And see what our next project is. All right, so in this shulker box right next to me, I've got the results of my first trip out to the desert searching for resources. Now, this box is mostly dedicated to the ores that I found. I've made a couple of other trips out to get sand since then, but I wanted to show you what I found. Pretty much everything in this box was a result of a single trip, and we wound up with all of this coal ore. And the coal ore is really the most important part. The iron is great. I will use that as we progress because it always seems like there's something that I need to use iron ingots to build. But the coal is the big part. With how much glass I've been needing for the projects I've been working on, I'm just constantly running smelter farms that I've built, and all of this coal is going to go a long way towards helping me get these projects off the ground. So now that I've talked a little bit about that and teased the projects a little bit, we're going to head on out to the first, there we go, the first of the ocean monuments that I drained. And you may remember this one from one of my most recent videos. I have done a couple of things out here since then. I added a nice little hut here under a mangrove tree. And in fact, I believe we heard one of its occupants. Yep, there he is. He's hanging out over here by the stone. And I think if we look around this direction, maybe, hopefully he's still alive. Well, he's not in there at the moment. We've got a little carrot farm here, and I did have a farmer that was tending that. I'm not sure where he went. I suspect that my weaponsmith over here may be killing off his roommates occasionally, because this farmer is the second roommate he's had after the first one disappeared under mysterious circumstances. So we've got a nice little hut in here for them to sleep. All the amenities. You got a brewing stand. Got a little place to cook, wash your dishes. But I'm starting to get concerned. I think he heard me. I'm pretty sure he heard me. I'm starting to get concerned about what's happening to his roommates. Now, the first one, look at that. He was watching me. He was sneaking around the corner to watch me. And when he saw me coming back, he ran away. That guy is being just a little sus. Anyways. The llamas probably didn't see anything. They'd never tell if they did. Now, one of the other things, and it's a little thing, but I planted a few berries over here. And I guess it's always possible that my farmer wound up finding his way to the berry patch and dying in it. But I don't know. I thought I had everything pretty well built so that he couldn't get anywhere too dangerous, and those berry plants are about all that's left. I may just have to give up on harvesting berries over here, or at least put them inside a fence. See if I can get another farmer. Oh well. I suppose it's possible he went down there. Let's check. And, well, he's a mason now. And he can't get out because there's not a bottom ladder on there. Well, we solved one mystery at least. I'm going to have to get him out of there, see if I can convince him to become a farmer again. But I'm still watching you, weaponsmith. You were acting pretty suspicious there. So you may have noticed one of the other changes here is an underwater tunnel that I've built. You may remember from previous videos, I was working on the second of 3 ocean monuments in this area. And this is little bit of a long hallway here. And so I wanted to build a way to get between the ocean monuments in case you didn't have an elytra, or if your elytra broke, which actually has happened to me at one point while I was working on draining the second one. I was flying around, all of a sudden was falling without too much style, and wound up having to kind of build my way up out of it to get up to the water and sail over to where I could get some experience and mend my elytra. But in order to kind of get around that in case that ever happened again, or if we, ever have people kind of like my wife who plays on our server and doesn't have an elytra, I wanted ways for them to be able to get around without having to just kind of rely on the rest of us helping her out. Now, you may have noticed we've got a nice little bedroom here. I figured that's a little bit of a walk between the two. May as well put someplace where people can rest. And it came in kind of handy during the whole construction project because I just didn't want to have to. My nearest bed was up at the top of the ocean monument build over here, and I would have had to fly up to it every time I wanted to rest. This second kind of way station, I haven't built it out too much as a specific room. It's mostly where I kept my construction materials. We do have an extra door that leads out. That door eventually will have another tunnel going off of it that will go over towards the third ocean monument that's in the area. But let's come over here for a moment, and I'll show you what I've been working on with the second ocean monument. We'll get a better look around over here. Now, you may have noticed the first ocean monument area where we had the suspicious weaponsmith. I've kind of built that up as more of a lush environment down in there. You know, we've got trees, we've got crops, we've got grass all over. This one, I'm intentionally leaving as more of a desert environment. And you'll notice one of the first things you see when we come in here is a sugarcane farm. And it's not a terribly complex sugarcane farm. I mean, the most expensive thing in here probably were the pistons that I had to build. But this sugarcane farm does not work off of observers. It's more of a timed thing where, based on these daylight sensors, and we've got one set to recognize, daylight and one set to recognize night, basically, they just activate the pistons every time the light level changes. And without having to put observers in here, that just saves a fair amount of redstone resources. And it still produces an amazing amount of sugarcane. Now, this has been running for quite some time while I've been doing other things in the area. I didn't build it until I had fully drained the area, but I hadn't really built anything else here when I put this in, including the long tunnel that we just walked through. So if we look down here, I've got 3 double chests for storage. And that's 1 full, 2 full, and we're starting on the 3rd. So for having a kind of a passive farm here that just constantly drops the sugarcane, and you can probably hear a minecart, that's a hopper minecart running underneath, picks it up, drops it off. It was a relatively inexpensive sort of farm to build, and giving credit where it's due, this is a sugarcane farm by iCraftMC on YouTube. Now, the next farm you see over here, we've got a coarse farm, and right now, this is just kind of a manual harvesting thing. I'm trying to stock up a bit on coarse flowers, coarse fruit. Eventually, I'm going to set up a little bit of an automated farm in this corner for harvesting coarse fruit. because I want to be able to put the coarse fruit in a furnace, turn it into popped coarse fruit like that, and then turn that into purpur. Purpur, I think, will make a wonderful accent color going along with some of the other colors that I've been using in my builds over here. And it's not one that I've really had a lot of an opportunity to use in the past, but I'm hoping that once I get that farm built up, we'll be able to start churning out enough of that, like I said, not as a major building block, but just using it as kind of accent over in the main city itself. And then the third farm that I've been working on has been this Cactus Farm. And this was, it wasn't really a critical need. Again, we've got some desert biomes that aren't too far away. I could go out and manually harvest cactus anytime I need it. And the real reason you need cactus at this point is for green dye. It's the, I believe, the only source of green dye other than buying it from a wandering trader. So this farm, again, it's a fairly kind of passive system. You'll notice between the cactus plots, we have fence posts, and you may have just seen a couple of those grow and immediately break off. What happens is the moment the cactus grows a second block, the fence posts kind of interfere with that. The cactus doesn't like having anything right next to it, and it causes it to break where it falls into the water, and the water just pours it straight down a hole in the middle, which then leads to a hopper down on this level. And down below, notice we've already got quite a few stacks of cactus. It is kind of a slow-growing crop. It takes a while for it to just to grow up a single block space. But again, one of those things that while I'm working here in the area, as long as this chunk is loaded, it'll continue growing for me and provide a steady supply for when I need green dye. And I may wind up using that cactus for some more kind of decorative aspects in this area before we're finished. There's still a lot of space in here that I'm needing to terraform a bit. I want to keep this looking kind of desert-y. I want to keep the sandstone and sand and maybe just some of the raw stone here. And I'm hoping, especially with that abandoned desert village as a template, that I might be able to kind of copy or at least use some of those desert buildings as inspiration for adding some buildings in here, and eventually moving some of the villagers from the city way over that direction down through the tunnel system and over to here. Now, speaking of the tunnel system, and we're going to fly back over because, frankly, flying is a little bit faster than walking through that tunnel. Oh, you know what? Let me show you this before we get too far. This is just almost a proof of concept. It was something I wanted to see how I liked, and I do like it. I just haven't gotten around to putting more of these in. Are these floating undersea lanterns that I've built. Just using, sea lanterns and some dyed glass, some stained glass, as well as some stained glass panes to form kind of a little particle effect. Excuse me while I deal with something here. We've got one off of the corner of the underwater bedroom, and we've got one kind of on the inside of that corner as well. And they're both chained down to make sure that they don't float away. I just kind of liked the atmosphere that they gave to this build. Now you'll notice that part of the tunnel system includes sea lanterns to begin with, so that it's always well lit up. These aren't really needed for adding any light to the build. I just really kind of like the way they looked and how they fit in, and I'm thinking I may go ahead and add a few more just along the entire length of this tunnel. So we're going to get back up here onto this kind of territory marker. And we're actually going to fly all the way back to where we first started the video, which is at the lighthouse. Oh, a little bit of a spoiler down there. We're not going to talk about that. We're just going to come back over here. And land on the dock. Now, I was talking earlier about how I wanted to have a way for people to get between the underwater habitats that I've been working on if they didn't have elytra. Now, one way, of course, would be to put a boat down, sail over there, and I have built a ladder and a kind of a drop spot using some slime blocks at the bottom to cushion the fall. That is always a possibility. No insult intended to anybody, but not everybody is as comfortable with... Of course, it starts raining. Not everybody's as comfortable with going down those sorts of drops or even going down really long ladders and feeling safe about it. So I wanted to make another route for people that want to play it a little bit safe to get down there. And you'll notice this area of the beach I have textured a little bit. We've got some pebbles and you know, just a little bit of weeds, that sort of thing. If we come over here and hit one of those pebbles, and, well, actually I needed to move a little faster than that, you'll notice that what we have here is a bit of a secret tunnel. And now for all the Avatar fans who have that stuck in their head, you're welcome. Oh, let's go right back here. As I was building this tunnel, I noticed that I kind of broke my way into a very nice underwater cavern. We've got water coming down from the ocean above. We've also got a little bit of lava down there. And we've got these really cool kind of stalagmite, stalactite formations of stone that are coming down. Not much to see over on this side, but this has a really cool view. So instead of keeping the walls all copper and stone and all that, I wanted to leave some windows here so that people could still kind of get an idea of what their surroundings look like, even though we're underground and underwater. And again, knowing that we've got a bit of a long tunnel here, I realize that some people may need to take a break. It can be a little bit tiring wandering through here, and especially when I was working on it. So we've got one more secret where we've turned a little cave into a rest area. Little spot where people can come in and take a break. And you notice we've got some storage in here as well. And we can head right back out. Then we are going to follow this all the way through. I would fly, but I think we're getting close enough to the end I might run into a wall. Yep, there it is. So I used some warped wood for the floor and ceiling, a little bit of moss, just to make it look like it's, you know, kind of damp down here. And I'm allowing the copper to tarnish. I didn't want to keep the copper looking brand new. Since this does go underwater, I figured it would only be sensible for the copper to actually start corroding a little bit. So now, again, giving credit where it's due, the secret doors that we've got going into the rest area and then coming out here, credit to Zintug on YouTube. I have a horrible time wrapping my head around compact, functional redstone. And so I am so grateful for YouTubers like that who share their talents and their builds so that the rest of us can take advantage of them. I'm going to clear the weather real quick. There we go. The rain is stopping. That was... Hearing that rain in the background can get just a little irritating when I'm trying to narrate a video. Oh, you know what? You would think, as obvious as that wall is, that I could have missed it. But no, I smacked right into it. I am talented that way. So, I realized that one thing I forgot to do was give credit for this cactus farm, because this was not my invention. This was the easiest cactus farm by Trilums? I'm not sure, but again, another Minecraft YouTuber who shared a really nice build that is compact, it's expandable. I could go ahead and build that several stories taller if I really wanted to, but it fits perfectly in the space that I have here. So, let's land up here. As you saw earlier, we've got this completely drained, and I've drained the interior of the monument. I heard a little bit of a flopping around earlier, but yeah, that looks like it was just a slime. This corner, I think the corner where I built my my little farm, my chorus fruit farm, is where the slime chunk is over here. We keep getting slimes that are popping up right in this corner. So, nice little extra little bit of slime when I need it, but considering I've got a fully functional slime farm over at the first monument, and I'm in the process of finishing out the second one, I could take it or leave it over here. Right now I may just need to spawn proof over there a little bit better so that I don't have the slimes harassing any of my villagers once I get that put in over here. So, and I'm pretty sure I thought I did hear something. It looks like we have a couple of conspirators hiding under the ocean monument here. Looks like we have had some people exploring down this area, and something has been added. It looks like somebody has made a pet while they're over here. I guess it's my pet slime now. It must be a gift. So, for those of you that may not have seen them, because I think this is the first time they have been in one of my videos, these are my daughters who are on the server over here kind of exploring a little bit. There's some of this construction that they haven't had much of a chance to look at yet, so they came over, I guess, to do the whole tourist thing and see what was going on. In fact, a few minutes ago, I saw one of their name tags way down below ground. I think they may have dug their way up through the floor here and then filled it back in, but... Alright. Well, let's see now. So, last thing we're going to take a look at is the third ocean monument. So I've been talking about how there are 3 ocean monuments that are located in close proximity here. And here we are at the 3rd one. And you can see I've already got a little bit of work done on this. I'm using the same process that I've used before, setting up cells that are divided by sand. As I drain one row of cells with sponges, then I just use that sand to set up the next one. I counted out my measurements. Excuse me one moment here. We really do not need a thunderstorm while I'm trying to talk. I counted out my measurements here to make sure that I get these all at the right width, and it's about 24 rows of cells. Now, in an evening, the first evening I worked on this, I was able to knock out 2 rows of cells. And that was completely sinking the sand to build them, and then draining them, and then moving on and starting to build the next cell, the next row after that. One of the things that I found myself having a difficult time with on the 2nd ocean monument is that this whole process can be very tedious. I actually, some evenings there, when would that have been? May, probably? Towards the end of the school year, I would sometimes have maybe only an hour or so to work on my builds at night. And I would come in and I'd start working on one of these, and I'd get about 4 or 5 cells in with, building or draining and removing the sand and all that. And I'd find myself just dozing off at my computer, which there are worse places to fall asleep in Minecraft. I have dozed off before when I've been trying to fly somewhere, and that can wind you in all sorts of interesting situations. About the worst thing that happens when I doze off trying to clear a monument here is that I may break through the outer wall, and then I get water pouring down in. I have to reset all of my torches. I have to get up to the top and replace that sand. It's more of an annoyance than anything, but it's definitely not something that that really helps the process. So I've been limiting my time in here to just doing a little bit each day. I don't want to try to push it too hard, because when I start falling asleep, that's when mistakes get made. And honestly, I would rather just do a little bit here and there, and then go off and do some exploring or work on a slightly more creative build than try to push through and just do this all in one big chunk. So this may still not be finished by the next video. We may still be working on draining this ocean monument. It's a big project. It takes a little bit of time. But one of the things that I still haven't decided on is what sort of kind of biome I want this one to be when we're finished. So you notice the first one was kind of lush and green. We've got trees, we got crops. The second one, off in this direction, I'm kind of keeping it with a desert theme. This one, I just haven't decided how I want to do it yet. One of the things that I do have to be careful of is standing water. Just because of the proximity to the ocean monument, if we have much open standing water down here, we run the risk of spawning guardians in. It's not a huge risk, but if I'm going to be introducing villagers to the area, I want to minimize that as much as possible. So, putting in a swamp or a big lake or something just may not really be the sort of direction we can go here. But other than that, I would love to hear your suggestions. If you have any ideas of what sort of environment we should build around this ocean monument once I've got it drained, go ahead and drop a comment down below and let me know. I am always willing to take suggestions and ideas, and I would love to see what y'all can come up with for that. But that is our video for today. That is that is most of what I've been working on the last few weeks. It is good to be back. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends about me. Always looking for more people to share my ideas with and to learn from. And with that, we will see you in the next one. I've got to go kill that zombie before he gets to me, but we will see you later. Bye.